So as we start this morning, I'm gonna let you in on a build, an engine build that I'm doing that I alluded to in a previous video, but I wasn't ready to give any details. I'm gonna give you the details today for two reasons, and I'll go into those reasons in a moment, but I am building a 350. The block you've seen in the previous video, and we'll go over the block in a moment. I have the block. It's a it's pretty good block. I have pretty much everything. I'm waiting on my new pistons to get here, and Lord willing, they get here in time. So here's the deal. My daughter gets married in a week. When she was in high school, me and her worked on a car together, and she drove it as a daily driver to school. It was a Pontiac Firebird, and a 79 Pontiac Firebird. If you're not familiar with that body style, think Smokey and the Bandit 2. So she daily drove it out and back to high school. This was 3 years ago now. Yeah, it's been 3 years ago. When she graduated high school, she's going to college and moving out on her own. She went out and got her a new car, and the Firebird kind of got left behind here. And the Firebird had some issues. I drove it for a little while. Firebird developed some overheating issues, and I'm pretty sure it's got a blowed head gasket. But it was a 301 V8 car. Let's be honest, 301's not really worth throwing money into. So let's circle back around now, and she's getting married. She loves that car. I've talked about selling that car a time or two, but she just don't want to have a part of it because it's the last car that me and her worked on together. Since she's been moved out and gone to college, I really don't get to see her very often. She's out living her life, being an adult, and I understand that. She's getting ready, to start a family and start her own family and all, and I just don't get to see her. She doesn't have much time to spend with me, and she's working a couple of jobs, and she's just living her life. So that car has a little special meaning to me, and I thought it would be a cool thing, as much as she thinks of the car and as much as I think of the car, to get it back up and running again. Well, I'm not throwing money into a 301, and I'm not going to have it running and driving by our wedding. That's not what I'm saying. But what I want to do as a wedding gift to her is give her a new engine for that car. And then hopefully she can get some free time to come over, and we'll work on getting the engine in the car together and give us the opportunity to spend some time together again. So with that being said, this is the idea I had. Pontiac motors and Pontiac parts are a little more expensive, and I don't know enough about Pontiac in general to know what's good and what's bad. And anybody on the internet, what they've got is going to be the best stuff in the world. Everybody knows I'm kind of a Ford guy, but what most people don't realize is I grew up a Chevy guy. And then it just kind of, one day I looked around and I've got all Fords, but I grew up working on Chevrolets. So I know Chevrolets. Now, it's been 15, 20 years since I've put a Chevrolet together, a Chevrolet engine together. So, or let me say a small block Chevy together. So I do have to kind of sit down and think about what I need, where with say an FE, I can do a mental list in my mind of everything I need for an FE, and I can do it because I do them all the time. Small block Chevys are one of those things where I'll be putting it together and I'll turn around and go, oh man, I've got to get that piece, and I don't have totes full of them. With a Ford, if I forget something, I've got totes full of whatever it is anyway, so I can just walk over to the shelf and get one. So the Chevy stuff has been a little bit of a nostalgia road for me, but a little bit of a times when I just want to beat my head into the wall because I forgot something silly. I didn't get the oil filter adapter piece that goes in for the oil filter to screw on. Don't have it. He's going to send me one, and it's no problem. But it's it turned out to be no big deal. But it's one of those little things that, you know, it never entered my mind until I started putting stuff together. And I was like, well, crap, I don't have one of those. None of that matters in this story. So we're putting together a 350. Let's go through what we're doing, and let's start with these heads since, well, they're sitting right here. So I had a set of heads, and there's no reason that they can't be used, and they will be used for something. But they, let's say they're pretty crusty, and I started going through and started doing port work and bowl work and all that to get them done. To do it by hand, any guys that do it, it is so time consuming to do it right and to make sure they're good. So a buddy of mine reached out to me, and he had these heads. These heads, I have not even looked at the casting number on them, but these heads already have the bigger valve in them. They've already had port work done to them. They've already had bowl work done to them. And they were run on a dyno session only, so they're fresh. So I don't have to do anything to them. The springs are on them already pretty well spec'd out for the cam that I have, so that's awesome. So these are literally ready to bolt on to the engine, which saves me a ton of time. They're ready to go, and they only have dyno time on them. Matter of fact, we were kind of joking. He was saying that the intake gaskets on them is still in such good shape, I could probably reuse the intake gasket. I have new gaskets. Don't freak out on me, guys. But I'm not that cheap. But these are awesome, and they'll work well, especially for what I was putting together, or what I am putting together, is a street motor. So I started, because I don't have anything Chevrolet, so I started reaching out to some of my buddies and going, hey, I need Chevy parts. What do you have laying around? What do you have that I can pillage for this project? And explain to them what the project are, and they've all been awesome to help me out. And these heads are a prime example. My buddy said, I've got these heads. They were run on a dyno on an engine. They only have dyno time on them. They're fresh. He gave me specs on the springs and the cam that was in the engine. And basically, he doesn't live local, but he was passing through, and basically I paid for his gas to swing by for these heads. And I'm over the moon about them. So again, one of the benefits to having race car buddies is the stuff that they no longer have any use for is still better than stock. So even though I say I'm just building her a street engine to go out and cruise around, go to cruise ins, car shows, and drive out and back to work if she wants to, it's probably going to be a fun little rowdy engine. Now I'm so far away from the last time I done Chevrolet stuff, I can't tell you what kind of power this motor is going to make. Like, I can't rattle off some kind of number based on experience out of my head. But this is what I'll tell you. These heads have been gasket matched. They've had some port work, some bowl work. They've got some bigger valves in them, and they should flow really, really well. I'll have to measure it. I think he told me what CC the chamber was, but I was just so happy to get them. I don't remember the number. It's a pretty good chamber in them, so I don't remember exactly, but I'll have to see. But these heads should flow really well and should make some decent power numbers. So the block I've got here, again, we've mentioned it's a Chevy 350. This is a 4-bolt main block. Here's the blessing on this block. This block was dropped off at a machine shop, and then for whatever reason, the guy that dropped it off, or lady, I don't know, that dropped it off abandoned the project, decided they didn't want to do it. Unfortunately, the machine work had already been done, so they kind of left the machine shop holding the bill for the work, and never came back and got the block, decided that they was not going to pursue this project. Not picking on anybody, that's their business. But what it done for me was allow me to get this block for basically probably I'll say I got it for the machine shop bill. This block is bored 40 over. This block already has the new freeze plugs installed. It already has new cam bearings installed. Already been line honed. Again, as I said, 40 over. The deck has been touched. It's a solid block, and I picked it up for the cost of the machine shop bill. Probably, honestly and truly, I picked it up for a lot less than what the bill should have been, but I think he was just ready to move it on and wanted to help with the project, of course. 4-bolt main. It's a gem up block. Now, the color, somebody noticed it in the other video and called it and said, is that Pontiac? Well, yes, it is a Pontiac color. Because when this engine is put together, I'm going to kind of disguise it, if you will, to look like a factory Pontiac motor, to look like it would have come in that car. So we're going to disguise it as kind of a 350-400 Pontiac motor. We have a set of good heads that flow real good. Again, of course they're GM heads. They're not like aftermarket heads or anything. They're factory GM heads, but they're a real good set of heads that flow really well. So we've got that going for us. We've got the 40 over block, and yeah, it's starting to sound like it's going to come together, right? Now, as far as parts to put this together with, I went to my local machine shop guy, and I told him, I said, it's going to be a street engine. I don't need super high-end performance stuff, but I need a kit that has everything, and I want everything, regardless of what I already have. If I have a duplicate of a couple of pieces of parts, whatever, it's okay. But he ordered me a kit with everything, including new pistons, flat tops. So it'll have 40 over flat top pistons in it. New flat top pistons, all the bearings, all the rings, the gaskets, everything. It has everything. Timing chain, so that I can put this engine together. But it should make decent power. Let's face it, if that's a 68, does that sound right, Chevrolet guys? 68 cc chamber? Does that sound kind of right? 68 cc chamber heads. I don't remember if it was 65 or 68. I think it was 68 cc chamber heads. 40 over flat top. I should make really decent compression with this motor. I have not sat down and tried to do the math, because you have to know the gasket thickness, and I don't have the kit yet to know the gasket thickness and all that stuff. So I don't know exactly what the compression is going to be, but 40 over flat top, mid to upper 60 cc chamber, bigger valves, it flow real well. It should make really decent power. A buddy of mine dropped me off a cam that he had on the shelf. I'd have to look at it. I think it's not a big cam. It's kind of a baby cam, but I think the specs on that cam is somewhere right around 500 lift with like a 112 lobe separation on it. So it should have a decent sound to it. It should be peppy down low, especially with that. I have a choice of a couple of different intakes that I have. I have one dual plane intake that is a factory GM aluminum intake, which is kind of cool. It's a, I think you Chevrolet guys like to hear these words. It's a snowflake intake. I have that one, or I have a little Cougar 2 single plane intake that could go on it. So either one of those could go on it, and that's a decision that can be made when it's time to pop it down on there. I actually have a set of headers made for that car. We're going with a double roller timing chain. We've got about a 500 lift cam, flat top pistons, a good compression chamber to go on it. It should be a healthy little motor. Put it down in the comments the kind of power and torque numbers, if you're a Chevrolet guy, that you think a combination like that would make. Honestly, I don't care. I mean, let's be honest about it. To drive around town, I mean, a 300 horsepower motor is fun to drive around town. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like it matters. Well, let's be honest, a 200 horsepower motor in the right car is fun to drive around town. But so it doesn't matter because this isn't a race car. It isn't going to be a race car. This is just going to be a fun little street car. And I do have a brand new GM Performance crankshaft to go in it too. Stock stroke, of course. So it's going to stay a whatever 350 board 40 over comes to 350, probably about a 357, 358, somewhere in there. I don't know, just throwing a number out off the top of my head, but yeah. So there you go, guys. There's an update on a project. And since my daughter gets married next week, that means at some point in time this week, I've got to put this engine together. And this may be one of those, after everything's kind of shut down, late night, come out here, close the door, and just doop, 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 slap parts in. Fortunately, at this moment, I am waiting on the pistons. The pistons have not got here yet. So he just keeps telling me they'll be here this week. And well, that kind of goes here and everything. So that way. But now y'all know the plans for this engine. You understand why this one is kind of special to me, and why it's kind of a special project. I'm not a great gift giver. I really not. Funny story about how bad of a gift giver I am. The folks that don't know me won't understand just how country I really am. But when me and my wife were dating, were we dating or we were married already? It may have been the first year we were married. I gave her a cow for her birthday. No, I gave her the cow for Christmas. I gave her a horse for her birthday, and then I gave her a cow for Christmas. Guys, I'm not good at giving gifts, is what I'm saying. And this may not be the best gift that you can give a 20-year-old, 21-year-old young lady, but it's what I know, and it's from the heart for me, because that car has a lot of meaning to me, because me and her worked on it. We worked on it together, and it's one of the last cars that we got to work on together. And I know with her moving forward in her life and her family, that there probably won't be opportunities in the future for us to do stuff together. And I guess selfishly, I'm trying to grab one more moment, one more project, and it's just it's the best gift I could think of to give her, something that she could enjoy for the rest of her life, and I could make at least one more memory with her. So hope you guys follow along on this one. This one means something. So I hope you guys follow along with me on that project. I hope you subscribe to the channel and follow that. And it's probably going to be a spunky little engine. I mean, again, I gave you the specs on it, and it's going to be a lot more than a stock motor. That's all I can say about it for sure, because that's all I really know right now. So I hope you follow along with that project. Please subscribe. Again, we're giving away a Summit gift card at 500 subscribers, so please subscribe and follow along with that. Now, I'm also going to get the white Chevy truck back in here, because I got to get this LS in it this week also and get it up and running, which means I've got two things that I have to do this week. I have to build that motor, and I have to get this LS in this truck and running. Both of those have to happen this week. But I got one more thing I got to accomplish this morning before I pull the truck in here. With the weather the way it's been and all, where the Cougar still has a big hole in the hood, and I really want to make a hood scoop for that car and get that engine covered, so that I don't have to put a tarp over it every time I see a cloud in the sky. So I'm gonna try to knock that out real quick this morning and get that taken care of. And then we'll move forward with getting the white truck in here and getting that LS started, getting it back in here, because it's got to happen, guys. I got to get that motor in that truck this week, and I got to get that going. And we got a couple things we have to do to the truck to get it ready for the motor. So that's going to burn a day right there. So I got to get on this thing and get it done. So. Cougar in the house. So I'm a guy that kind of just likes to go in on it. So I'm gonna pull some numbers out of thin air, make some lines, and kind of look at it, and then take these measurements over to the car and see what that looks like as far as the scoop goes on the car. I think right now, my mind says about a 2-inch rise. 2 inches would make it kind of tight. So I think we'll go 3 inches in, give it an extra inch. So I'm gonna come up here and I'm gonna give myself a 2-inch lip here. Now again, like I said, I'm pulling these numbers out of the air and just rolling with it here for a minute, folks. Roll with it for a minute. So if I got 2 inches now, this is gonna be my lip. I'm gonna fold it under and put holes in it so that I can screw it and mount it. I can adjust this. I don't need 2 inches. I'm just trying to make it so that I'm using the material I've got. So now if I wanna go 3 inches here and get a 3-inch rise, I think I like it square on the roof. Like looking straight down over it, I think I like the idea of it squared and not funneled in. I think I like that. But I think I want the sides, not this dramatic, but I don't want the sides flat. I want the sides to kind of have some rate to them, maybe just a little bit. All right, first bend. Let's go kind of slow with it and see how this works for me. You know those big professional shops you see on TV that's got those ones that you just stick a piece of metal in there and it seems to magically all work perfect? Yeah, I'm not there. But where I am is kind of see. And yes, I know this piece of metal is moving a little bit, so I'm not looking for some scientific. I mean, keep in mind, guys, I'm not trying to build a car to go to Barrett Jackson. I'm trying to build something that I enjoy cruising around town. And it kind of keeps water out of the motor. That's kind of what I'm trying to build. You know, guys, when somebody gives you a big bill on a fabrication job, and you think it sounds like a lot of money, understand a lot of time goes into fabricating anything. No matter how big or how small, a lot of time goes into fabrication. And it's one of those things that the amount of time it goes into it gets taken for granted. So I don't want to tell y'all that every fab job should be $1 million job, but I'm not going to tell y'all that it should be a $200 job ever. So and keep in mind, when you bend a piece of metal, you want to go past 90 a little bit, because metal has a memory and it does want to come back. Hey, I know that one right off the bat first time. You gotta look at something cool while you're going down the road too, you know what I mean? It's not always about what other people see.
It's not always about what everybody else sees. All right, so I'm gonna pop this out of here. I'm gonna set it on the car and let's take a look at how it looks. My opinion, it needs a little more down rate, but May can make this work. I think it needs to drop off about right here and start down. But I think this may be the start of something good. It just needs more drop in the back of it, and I think I've got enough room to do it. Yeah, I think it needs to kick down more in the back. Let's take a side silhouette look. That's it from the side. It has a little bit of drop, but I think the issue is that the nose of the car runs down, so the little bit of drop that I put in the back of this almost makes it look like it's flat across. I don't hate it though. I don't hate it. I just think it needs tweaked. I think this back needs to be brought down just a little bit, and I think it'll look good. I think the side silhouette, ignore the back of it. Like I said, I've got to drop it off, and I'm probably going to drop it off something like that. But I think that's a good look. At it from the front together. I hadn't really looked at it from the front, and it's not sitting straight left to right. But yeah, that definitely adds some real aggressiveness to the front of it for sure. Man, that's the money shot right there from the front. I just have to get the back angle right on it. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, since I went kind of very what's the opposite of aggressive? Very timid with the first shot as far as the angle and all. And I know that I'm probably just going to use this piece of sheet metal as a test to kind of build me a template. I'm going to go way the other way now, make it super aggressive. See how I like that, and that's going to tell me what I actually want to build now. So give me a minute while I body work out the bend here, and I'm going to throw a super aggressive bend in it, and let's see how that looks. I think it's going to look better actually. I kind of already like it, because with the slope of that hood, super aggressive, it's still going to drop down a little bit. Yeah. I gotta just stand back and look at that for a minute. Holy shit balls. Just sit back and drink that up for a minute. That has got some kind of profile to it there, doesn't it? That's aggressive. So I finally figured out what I liked. I presented to you the faux pas. So I wanted a Mopar style scoop, but when I started making them, I didn't like the way it fit on its hood, and I couldn't figure out why. Well, it's simply because the Mopar hoods are so large, and I was trying to build a Mopar scoop, and this hood's about half the freaking size. So it didn't look right. Now this is not done, but it's gonna get shortened just a hair, and then when it does, the back's gonna angle off so it slopes down at the back, just kind of like comes down and kind of kicks out, and it's going to get shortened a little bit, and mounted down right now. It's just laid up there. But I also run a ridge down the center of it, so it's got just a little peak to it. I like it. It's going to work. It's going to look good on the car, and it matches the size of the hood, and it still has that iconic Mopar shape to it. The faux pas. Let's take a look at what we got here. And I got to trim all this down and make it right. But if you look at it from the front, I put a little peak just in the front. Just got a little peak to it. So I'm going to shorten it up a little bit, and then it's not going to just drop off like this. It's not going to come down to nothing. It's just going to kind of follow the same line along and then drop off at maybe a 22-degree angle and then come back. So it has like just a little slope to it. And I think that's how I'm going to end it out. Fortunately, I have run out of death wheels here to chop this off, but this is what we're going to, you can see that ridge pretty good right there. This is going to be the scoop that you're going to see on the hood of the Cougar. Yeah, you can see, and I just throwed it on there so it's not even straight on the hood, but you can see how you'll have the little peak in the center. It's going to match the edges of the body line right there. That's why I said it's not centered, because it's actually measured, so it will drop right down on each side of the body line right there down the center of the hood. So that's what we're going with. I think that's going to look killer on the car. And yeah, there you go. How cool that right there is going to look. That is 70s bitching right there. And that's what we wanted with this car. True 70s bitching cool. Love it, guys. Love it. You really didn't think I was going to leave you hanging like that, did you? There she is. Now I just got to do a little body working on it and decide what I want to do. Do I want to clear coat it and leave it raw? Maybe. Kind of looks cool. Do I want to scuff it and shoot it black? That would look pretty good on it. Match the top. Would kind of look good. Maybe I want to take this lace design and run it into the scoop and have the scoop lace like the hood. I don't know. Tell me what you think. But there it is. There she is. All right, guys, I gotta go. I've made this video longer than it needed to be. Hope y'all enjoy. Hope y'all subscribe. Remember, at 500, we're giving away a Summit gift card. We're almost there. Y'all subscribe if you're not. Stay tuned for more great stuff. I've got to get this Chevy truck inside the garage and get the motor put in it and get this thing out of here. So I got a long day. God bless y'all. We'll see you next time.